Perfect. Okay, the first thing I want you guys to do, just like always, put your name right here. I had a couple people turn in journals that didn't have a name on a single paper, and I couldn't figure out who it was. The next thing I'd like you to do is go ahead and open up your journal. I'm actually going to put a line right here. So I'm going to put just a line, because this was all Unit 1. So this was Unit 1. And we're going to do Unit 2, and I don't know how many notes we're going to need because it's going to be determined based off of what we need help with. So today is going to just be called Review. Solving inequalities.
Teachers, I need you to proceed to do a lockout drill right now. This is just a lockout drill, which means you just lock your doors, do not cover the glass, and just go on with class. Thank you.
Yeah, it's locked. Okay. And I'm going to be putting this on page 12. All right, so far so good. Then I'm going to just do the notes on this little paper, and we'll glue them in after. You guys ready? Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is we're going to review the basic fractions from like 3rd grade. What do I do when I need to when we need to subtract? What do I need to get first? Does anybody know what my common denominator is? 30. How did you figure it out? Yeah, the smallest number that they both go into is 30. So I'm going to multiply this side by 6 over 6. Quick question, what's 6 divided by 6? That's why we're allowed to multiply by it. Then we're going to multiply this fraction by 5 over 5. What's 6 times 3? 18. What's 4 times 5? Pardon? What is 18 take away 20? Negative 2, right? Negative 2 over 30? Can I take a 2 out of a 30? I can. 2 times what is 30? 15. So we are assuming for this lesson, this is expected prior knowledge, because this is literally from 3rd grade. Fractions were done in 3rd grade. Now, the reality is that most people struggled with fractions. Your elementary teachers probably struggled with fractions. So we're going to just go over it. What about here? What's my common denominator here for addition? Just 6, right? So I multiply just this side by 2 over 2. What's 2 times 2?
4.
So I've got 4. What's 4 plus 5? 9 over 6. Can we reduce that?
Yeah.
In my brain, I'm thinking 3 times 3, and I'm thinking 3 times 2. I'm crossing the 3's out. My final answer is just 3 over 2. That's the process my brain does. Now we're doing division. So we're going to want to do the keep, change, flip. Some people call it the KCF, not the KFC, but the KCF. Keep, change, flip. You keep the first fraction. You change from division to multiplication.
This concludes the lockout drill. As a reminder, there is no need to put anything over the glass of your door. Just simply lock your door and continue with class. Thank you. The drill is now over.
Okay, well, the door's staying locked, so. All right, guys, and then you just multiply across. But I'm going to point something out. If you can reduce something, do reduce it. What can I do? This is called cancel. What can we cancel out? What has a common factor? 3, I can cross out with what?
9.
What's going to be left with the 9?
3.
What about the 4 and the 10? Is there anything that they both have in common? I could take a 2 out of this, and if I take a 2 out of 10, I have 5. So what's the numerator going to be? That's the top. What's the top going to be?
4.
Nope.
5.
5. What's the denominator going to be?
2.
2 times?
Oh, 3.
2 times 3 is 6. Do you guys know the vocabulary? Do you know what's numerator top? Do you know what's denominator
Bottom.
on the bottom? Now this is something I'm pretty sure everyone struggles with. This is not 3rd grade. This is pre-algebra and algebra 1. What do you do here? What's it called when we need to multiply to a group? Distribute. We're going to distribute this. So this is going to be like 3 over 4 times 2x plus 3 over 4. And I'm going to think of this negative on the 5 times negative 5 over 6. Okay? See how I just put the 3 over 4 with each thing? Now you are very welcome to use calculators to help you. This unit we're going to start using calculators. But what can we do here? What can we reduce here? What can we reduce with this group right here?
2 over 1.
Yeah, if you think of this as over 1,
4.
the 2 and the 4 can cross out, and what's left with the 4?
2.
A 2. So what I'm left with is 3 over 2x. What about here? Is there anything that can reduce in the second pair? What can we reduce? Okay, so 3 is going to be gone. 6 is now a 2. So I've still got minus 5 on top. And what's my new denominator? 4 times 2 is? 4 times 2 is? You're done. So that's just a quick review of skills you're going to need in this unit. What, dear? Okay. The first thing I do when I'm looking at a problem with all these fractions is I'm good at fractions. But the reason I'm good at fractions is I'm very good at getting rid of them. Now, because we have an inequality sign, you have to have an equal sign or an inequality. You have to have 2 sides to an equation to be able to get rid of the fractions through multiplication. So all I'm going to do is, what would be my common denominator between these two numbers? 6. So I'm going to take the entire equation and I'm going to multiply it by 6. Because I want to get rid of the fractions. I don't want any fractions. So what I'm doing is I'm doing negative 35 over 6 times 6. The inequality is staying the same. You only flip the inequality if you multiply or divide by a negative number. So I put a little reminder for you here. Negative 3 over 2n times 6 minus 2n times 6. So see how every single thing is times 6? What can we do with these 6's? What was the whole point of multiplying by 6? They need to cancel that out. So the left side is negative 35. The inequality does not change yet. Okay, what can I do with this 2 and the 6, right? Think of the 6 on top and the 2 on the bottom. What's 6 divided by 2?
3.
What? Yeah. So we're going to have a 3 left. What's negative 3 times 3? Negative 9 what? Good. Then we're going to go ahead and multiply these two. What's negative 2n times 6? Negative 12n. Do you see how we can put these together now? What's that going to make? So this is the combine like terms step. Just so you know, we usually say CLT, combine like terms. What is negative 9n minus 12n? Negative 21n. So we've combined like terms on each side. Did we need it? There was nothing we needed to distribute. We're going to move all the variables to one side, which they already are, and then we move all the constants to the other side. I guess step 6 would be multiply or divide to isolate the variable. My handwriting is trash, but I think you know what I'm doing. How do I get the n by itself? Divide by what? Negative 21. If I multiply or divide by a negative, this inequality flips directions. Okay? So this, I'm thinking of 35 and 21. I'm going to cancel out those negatives first of all. I know that this side is just n. But I'm going to think of 35 as 5 times 7. What are two things that multiply to 21? 3 times 7. What can we cross out? What can you cross out? What's left? Yeah, so n is greater than 5 over 3. Do you see how I just changed the direction? Oh, you can't see. Let me scroll down. Scroll down. Okay, so see how it's still facing the n? The alligator mouth is facing the n. The alligator mouth is still facing the n. Okay, now we have to be able to put this on the graph. Is this bigger or smaller than 1? Is it bigger or smaller than 2?
Smaller.
Just a tiny bit smaller, right? Because 2 would be 6 over 3. So this is just going to be a little bit smaller than 2. Is this an open or a closed circle? So we're going to have an open circle below 2. And then it's saying n is above it, right? See how it's saying n is bigger than that number? So we're going to color it bigger than that number. Is this making sense? Okay. When you're ready, go ahead and open and we'll do the inside. I'm going to go ahead and scroll up just so I can move paper. All right. That's a whole lot of fractions happening, huh? All right, so I'm going to tell you, because we have this distributing right here, we're going to want to distribute first to get rid of to figure out what all of our fractions are before we get rid of the fractions. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply. Make sure you're going to each one. I'm just going to copy everything else down. 293 over 9 is less than or equal to negative 5 over 3n. Minus 7 times 7 is 49. 2 times 3 is 6. 7, this is just times 1, so it's just going to be itself. Negative 7 over 2. Okay, now comes the tricky part. Figuring out what to multiply by to get rid of all the fractions. So there's a couple of things we could do. Are you guys okay that if I multiplied by 9, it would take care of the 9, the 3, part of the 6? You guys okay with that? But if I also still need to multiply by 2. So what's 9 times 2? I'm going to multiply every single thing by 18. What's 18 divided by 9? So I need to figure out what 2 times 293 is. Then I'm going to have minus 5 over 3 times 18 minus 49 over 6 times 18 minus 7 over 2 times 18. What's 18 divided by 3?
Trying to draw down the.
Oh, sorry, you're still writing stuff down? I'm sorry. What's 18 divided by 3? So we're going to have 6 here. You guys okay with that so far? What's 18 divided by 6?
Oh,
3. What's 18 divided by 2? Okay, so now this is 100% when we're going to want to use our calculators, because I'm pretty good at multiplying, but 293 times 2, I'm going to be using my calculator. So, $586. You guys okay with that? What is negative 5n times 6? That one you should be able to do in your head. Negative 30n. 3 times negative 49, you might want to use your calculator. Good. Yeah, negative 49 times 3, negative 147n. And then negative 7 times 9 is? Yep. Now remember, okay, so what we did is, here's the steps we did on this one. We distribute. Then we multiply. We multiplied by the common denominator. And now we're going to move variables to one side. Constants to the other. We're going to combine like terms, and then we're going to just solve. Let me zoom out because that's too many steps for you to be able to see at the same time. Okay. You don't have to write this down, but it might help you. Okay? So we've got the variables on one side. We're going to move the 63 to the other side. How do I move the negative 63 to the other side? Plus 63. Plus 63. Tell me what you get. Good. The denominator? D-O-N-O-M. I've got to write it. D-O-N-O-M-I-N-A-T-O-R. D-E-N-O-M-I-N-A-T-O-R. Can you read it when I don't write in cursive? The cursive is the problem?
No.
Oh.
I did see it.
My messy handwriting is the problem? That's okay. Mama said I have doctor handwriting. That's how you know I'm smart. You got it? All right. So now we're going to put these two together. Okay? Can you guys put those together and tell me what you get? Negative 177. That's such a big number. Okay, and then if we divide by a negative, what happens to the inequality? You gotta remember to flip it. Notice we're not dividing by the end. We're never gonna be dividing by the letter. I mean, you will at some point in your life, but not yet. Okay, and then I literally just put this in the calculator. See? And it's gonna give me the reduced fraction. Don't forget it's a negative though. Which two whole numbers is negative 11 over 3 between?
9. Yeah. No.
What's 9 divided by 3?
Oh, yeah. Equal.
So it's going to be between negative 3 and negative 4, right? So is it closer to negative 3 or is it closer to negative 4?
Equal.
Negative 4 because it's almost 12, right? It would be 9, 10, 11, then 12. So this would be 3 over 3 would be 9 over 3, and this would be 12 over 3. We're closer to the 12. So we're going to put a open or closed circle.
Close.
So I'm going to fill in the dot, and then is n bigger or smaller?
Smaller.
Smaller. So we're going to color that way. Now, I'm still going to show you a different approach on this one. We could multiply through, but I'm going to tell you something I want to do.
Should I do the text on this side?
Yeah. Would you like me to zoom out a little bit? So it's all at once?
Please move variable.
Move variable to one side, constant to the other, then combine like terms, which we abbreviated as CLT, and solve. Would it be helpful? Some of my other classes, the three things that I've heard so far from my classes is that I go too fast during the lesson so they're not able to understand what's going on. So we're going to slow down. Or at least I'm going to try to slow down.
It's not really that you go fast to understand, so you go too fast, like write it down.
Then the next thing that they're asking is a lot more examples, but we don't want the lesson to be super long, so I was just going to give you a handout with a bunch of examples on them already worked out. We'll still work some of the questions together like we do now, but would it be nice and helpful to already have some worked out ones for examples? We could try it, right? Is there anything else you guys can think of that would make this class more understandable? I mean, your class is doing really well. You all have 100, like over 100%. But you're also super small, so you get lots of help. If you think of anything, let me know. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I don't want to deal with fractions. I'm going to multiply everything by 4. Why did I pick 4?
Because it's common.
Is the common factor, is the common denominator for both of those. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this side by 4. And I'm going to multiply this side by 4. What happens with those 4s? They better cancel out because that's the entire point of multiplying. What's going to happen with this 4 and this 2? It's going to become a 2. Now here's the deal. You cannot put it on the inside as well. It either goes on the outside or the inside, but it can't go in both. What's 2 times 7?
That's important.
Okay. Now using Pemdas, right? We're going to go ahead and use Pemdas. We always want to simplify each side as much as we can before we isolate the variable. What do I need to do first? Can those go together?
I did distribute.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Distribute. What's negative?
Oh, okay, it's the same thing. Okay.
So it's going to be negative 14n. What's half of negative 14?
Oh, negative 7.
Uh-huh. Okay, again, we've gotten it as simple as we can on each side. Once we have each side as simple as it can, how do we know what simple as it can be? Can those go together?
No.
Can those go together?
No.
Once you get to the point that you can't do anything else on each side, that's when you want the variables on one side and the constants on the other. I always start by looking at the variables. So I draw a line wherever my inequality or my equal sign is to represent the two sides of the equation. And whatever I do on one side of that line, I have to do on the other side of that line. Do you guys want to move the ends first or the numbers first? Okay, what would you like to do? Okay, so plus 14n, plus 14n. What's the left side of the equation going to leave me? No.
Oh, negative.
Thank you. Don't forget your inequality. It doesn't flip because we didn't multiply or divide. Excuse me, we didn't multiply or divide by a negative. What's left over on the right side of the equation? Okay. What is this telling me? Is this saying negative 3 or negative 7 is bigger? Is that true?
No.
So if you get something like this, what does that mean? Do you guys remember?
No.
It means no solution. So no solution actually happens quite frequently in life. When you graduate and you try to find an apartment, 99% of the time you won't be able to. You want to know why? Your income is too small and the cost is too high. For whatever apartment you're getting, they typically check and you have to make 3 times the rent. So if the rent is $1,200, you have to make $3,600 in a month. So $3,600 in a month. And you have to have proof of a job where you've been doing this for a while. So that's roughly $43,000 a year. You guys follow me? So it's possible, a real life inequality would be something like, you need to find, give me an example of how much how much would you make in an hour? $15? $15 an hour, right? And then take away, $15 an hour times 40 hours in a work week times 4 weeks in a month. Are you guys okay with that? That has to be bigger than 3,600. There's a solution to that. It's just not possible in real life. Do you know what I mean? So there's going to be days of that where you can't actually make it work. Okay, so go ahead and flip. Most apartments are somewhere between, the least expensive apartments I've seen are like $600, and those are small little like student apartments, if you know what I mean. Yeah, but a lot of times you can get an apartment and split it with people. Okay, you guys ready? What do you want to start with here? Do you want to start with distributing, or do you want to start by getting rid of some fractions? What do you want to start by? Okay, let's go ahead and distribute. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go. Smarring, you doing okay today? Are you guys, do I need to break this down with you, or are you good? Okay. What's the smallest number that 3, 6, and 4 all have in common as a multiple? Do you want me to show you some ways to figure that out? Okay. What are things that multiply to 3? 2 factors of 3. 3 and 1 is its only options. This is why it's called prime. Okay. What are some factors of 6? 2 and 3. Okay, so that, see how this is the same as that? That means we don't have to look at this guy anymore. What are my factors of 4? 2 and 2. See how this and this have that in common? So we're going to take 6 and just add the other one in. Does that make sense? So it's going to be 12.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. You want me to show you? So I'm counting these 2's as the same 2 because they all had that in common. Does that make sense? So I'm counting those 2's as the same 2, and I'm counting these 3's as the same 3, and that means the only one left is this 2. So if I had 2 times 2 times 3, right?
Oh.
I would be able to make a 4 here, I'd be able to make a 6 here, and I'd be able to make a 3 there. See how I used every number and there are no extras? What's 2 times 2?
4.
What's 4 times 3?
12.
That's how I got the
So
12.
we kind of ignore like the other 2?
That 2?
Yeah.
That's why there's 2 2's.
Oh. Oh, okay, I see now. Yeah.
Okay? So I'm going to multiply every single thing by 12. Now this is not an exponent. If it was an exponent, it would be higher. What's 12 divided by 3?
4.
Yep. What's 12 divided by 6? Mm-hmm. What's 2 times 7? Mm-hmm. What's 12 divided by 4? What's 5 times 3? Don't forget it's negative. What's 12 divided by 4? What do we want to move? If it was me, I would say plus 15x, because I'd rather deal with positives. Okay, so what's 15x take away 4? 15x take away 4x, sorry. And then I'm just bringing everything down. Everything that's left. I want to move that 14 to the other side. How am I going to do that? Exactly. Negative 15, positive 14. What does it make? This means you owe $15 and you pay 14 back. Do you have or do you owe? You owe 1. How do I get that x by itself? Tell me when you're ready and we'll put it on the number line. What whole number is this closest to? 0. It's just a little bit to the left of 0, right? Is this going to be an open or a closed circle? So I'm going to try to zoom in and not be too much in the way. Okay, so there should be a dot not on 0 but close to 0. And then, is this saying we're going to go left or we're going to go right? Left. So we're going to go ahead and fill in to the left. And that's it. Go ahead and glue that in. I have not posted the assignment yet. If you give me just a quick minute, I will.
No.
Let me stop this.